Okay. So here we are. We're going live on YouTube. So we're off. Are you ready, Mac?
Ever ready.
Okay, well, here we go. Scuba Obsessed, the weekly podcast. We talk about all things scuba diving, from cool new gear, places to dive, and scuba news. Scuba Obsessed 521 is recorded live January 13th, 2022. I had to look up to make sure I didn't hit the wrong year. Welcome back to Scuba Obsessed. I'm Darren Gilson, coming to you from the southwest side of the great state of Michigan. We're joining this week. We have Mac, the dive mentor. How you doing today, Mac?
I'm doing very well. It's been a off and on week, though, hasn't it? We snow flurries, high winds, and then it got warm again.
Yeah, I drove home last night and it started rain, and that makes you nervous when it's snow everywhere and then there's rain coming down. You don't know what you're going to be sliding on. And we also have a guest this week. So joining us this week from the Ford Seahorses, we have Nick Lewinsky. How you doing today, Nick?
Doing well. Glad to be a part of it.
Well, thank you for coming on. And I understand that you've got a shipwreck festival once again this year.
We do. We are returning this year with the 40th Great Lake Shipwreck Festival.
So did you do one last year?
No, unfortunately, with COVID, we snuck in the 39th in February 29th of 2020, and then had to take a break for a year. Mm-hmm. And we're happy to be back this year.
So what date is the festival going to be this year?
It is February 26th, and it is in Livonia. We have moved venues this year. We used to be at the Washtenaw Community College, but that building is under renovation. So we have moved to the Embassy Suites in Livonia, Michigan.
Okay, so that's kind of a hotel type of setup where they got conference rooms?
Yep. A hotel with auditoriums, conference rooms, ballrooms, and a large atrium. We do have some hotel rooms blocked out for a discounted rate for those who want to come early, or if you're traveling from afar.
Mm-hmm. Where would people find out about that discounted rate? Is that on your website?
Yep, on GreatLakeshipwreckFestival.org or on Facebook. We post all of our news and information. You can purchase your tickets on the website, and there's links to the hotel room reservations, information, all of our show presenters, their programs, synopsises, anything you'd like to know about the show is on that page.
Let's see. We're showing the website right now. If somebody's on the website, so this post you have January 10th is talking a little bit about it. They got some shots of the embassy suites there.
Yep, that is the where we're holding the show this year. And actually, right in that link, you can click and it'll take you to book your hotel room. And if you scroll up, you can see there's tabs for tickets and show presentations and anything else you'd like to know.
Mm-hmm. Looks like I pretty saturated my internet connection here. So here is the cart.
Yep.
It looks like this year tickets are how much?
$25. So they are $25 in advance. They are $30 at the door.
$30 at the door. I take it you've got some guest speakers this year?
Yep. We have, like I said, we have 10 different programs. We will be sending out, if you're part of the mailing list, we'll be sending out the program list. But if you look under tickets, show, you can see all the different shows and presenters. So we have Rick Mixter returning again this year with a show about his new book, Bottled Goodbyes. Mm-hmm. Mark Gamage is new to our show. this year. He'd be talking about the discovery and exploration of the schooner Augustus Handy. Dusty Cliffman, some would know him as Blue Eyes Below, has a very successful YouTube channel. Does a lot of ROV and scuba videoing of wrecks. Dave Trotter, as many of you would probably know, is coming back with a new wreck this year. The Lynches and Chris Roth have a show Icebound. Kevin McGee will be talking about the Windy 8 and how it was found in the wrong lake. Terry Irvine is going to be talking about shipwrecks of the Lake Superior's North Shore, the train that is up there. I believe the Judge Hart, some of the other ones right there around like the Ganilda. Yitka Hanako will be talking about the Myron, the Miztec, and the Zilla, and the captain, the story of how he ended up on all three of those wrecks that all sank near there in Whitefish Point. Eric Petkovic is going to talk about the U-1105, which is a German U-boat. It's one of 13 of its kind. It had a stealth coating put on its keel and was actually captured after the war, I think, by the British, where they removed a bunch of parts for technology, and then it was given to the U.S. Navy, who then depth charged it in the Potomac River. And it sits at, I think, 90 feet, and was found in the 80s. He'll be speaking on that. And then Kevin Ailes will be talking about the Pursuit of the Porcupine, which was one of Oliver Hazard Perry's ships.
Very good. So anybody who wants to know more about this, you can go onto the website, GreatLakeShipwreckFestival.org. Click on the show link, and it will give you all these. And I see you've got bios for all the guests and then some details on what they're going to be displaying and talking about. So a lot of good information. So worth it just to go and see the guests. Are you expecting many booths this year?
We have about 30, so it varies. Some of the presenters, they bring books, or one of our presenters is a charter captain, or two of our presenters are charter captains, actually. So they have, they set up charters. We have, I think, two other charter boats that will have booths. Dive shops have booths. So it's a great time to get out. Come down, schedule some charters for the year, see what shops have going on, classes or deals or anything like that, and just kind of get ready for what we would call the dive season. I know some people, their season never ends, but everybody really starts diving more in the spring and getting their summer planned out.
Yeah. So again, what is that date, just so that people remember?
February 26th.
February 26th. That's not far away at all. Here before we know.
No, we're only, I think, 5 or 6 weeks out.
Yeah. Mac, do you have any questions?
Not questions, but anybody out there who has not been there ought to go. I've been to that program more years than I haven't been, and always had a great time. It's also a good meeting place for a lot of people that you haven't seen for a while. A lot of times I see them there at the, once a year there, because we don't, a lot of people are in Lake Michigan. The other people are in Lake Erie, Ontario. So it's a good place to meet people and see all the new stuff.
Yeah, it's always great to catch up with the people you haven't seen in the last year, or you haven't been able to dive with, or, talk to an old instructor, or, organize a boat for the year to go see a certain wreck or whatnot. It's always a good time.
Yeah, with the pandemic.
I'm just curious. Are they going to have food there? I know they have food at the other place.
Yep. We will have lunch, and then there is a lounge in the hotel. So there will be.
Well, I do know. I looked up the hotel rooms too. They have a nice special for a mini suite, which is not too bad. Cost wasn't bad either.
No, it's actually a really good deal.
Yeah,
I think I think it's a king 2-room suite for $129.
Yep.
And it gets reasonable if you put 10 divers in there.
Right. We've all done those charters where it's like 5 people in a room.
Yeah, well, at least.
Yeah, I think we've all been there before.
At least for the show, we don't need to worry about hanging up wetsuits and dry suits in the bathroom. Or maybe.
Yeah, I can just imagine.
Well, that's it.
I can just imagine somebody walking down the hallway not knowing about it. It's just smelling all the wet gear. Like, what in the heck is going on in there?
Is there a pool?
There is a pool. I think there's a pool and a hot tub.
That's a self-feature right there.
Right.
Yeah,
I think we just suggest that you wait till after the show or the following day before you test any new gear.
That's probably a good thing.
This is not affiliated with a show at all. It's just a coincidence that happened the next day.
Right. That's another good thing. Diver Down, as you've seen in years past, they're going to be coming back. They do a regulator raffle with a double hose.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's $1 a ticket or $20 for 20 tickets. And you can win a double hose regulator that they went through, completely rebuilt. I actually spoke with Jerry just the other day from Diver Down. Mm-hmm. The regulator was out getting Cerakoted, and he was hoping to have some pictures of it here in the coming days after he gets it all assembled.
Yeah,
we'll be able to put that up.
Yeah, what we're showing here in the stream is the one from last year, or was it last year? 2 years ago now.
2 years ago now.
It seemed like we missed a year somewhere.
Right. It's still 2020 to a lot of people.
Oh, man.
But that's always a cool thing that we've done with him for the last couple of years. I mean, where else can you get a freshly rebuilt double hose regulator for $1?
Yeah, well, that works? Probably nowhere.
Right. Yeah, he completely goes through and rebuilds them all, so...
So have you had good interest with this? You hear anything indicating that they're going to have a lot of attendance?
I think so. I mean, everybody's getting excited to, be able to have the shows again. I know the club in Ohio had their show this year, and they had a good attendance. I think everybody's just kind of sick of being cooped up, wants to get out. And
yeah.
Well, that's a big job for you guys, and I know as a diver on this side of the pond, I really appreciate the efforts because it's a big effort and you need a lot of support to get this done, and you guys do a good job.
Yeah, it takes the whole club. It really does. There's a bunch of people behind it. Takes a lot of work, takes months of work. I mean, once one show ends, we start looking at what we're going to do for the next year.
Yeah.
With we're still kind of in the middle of COVID. Was it a challenge trying to get the show scheduled? Did you run into anything you didn't anticipate?
Well, I mean, it's just whether or not we'll be able to have a show. We're hoping everything holds out. We can continue on. There's been talk of trying to do digital shows and the headaches that come with that and everything. And it's been difficult for the last 2 years to try to do something and still be able to put on a show. And we're excited to be able to have one in person and continue on with this being the 40th show.
Yeah, we
well, good luck to you guys on that because you deserve all the accolades you're going to get, and hope to see you there.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I can make it. That's the show usually lines up with one of my busy times of the year. I do robotics. I coach a high school robotics team, and it seems to just hit right in the middle of the show season. I used to make all the shows. I remember going with Mac. We would hit them all, and I'll have to see if I can sneak it in. Maybe somebody won't notice. I can sit a dummy up in the chair and just kind of go over.
Tell them you're doing research for ROV.
There you go. They'll buy that.
Water robotics.
Yeah, well, that's the running joke. They keep saying they're going to have a water challenge one of these years. Well, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, and we hope it goes well. If anybody wants to contact anybody with you with any questions, where should they go?
You can reach out to us on Facebook. That's probably the easiest. Or there is on the website, there's a contact form, and it sends an email out.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead. I didn't know how long this was going to run, and we're probably going to try and edit this one pretty quick, so we'll keep it short. The shorter it is, the quicker I can edit it. And kind of the running joke is how far behind I am on these edits.
And you want to get this one out in a hurry because you want to help advertise the program.
Yeah. So we'll certainly, my goal is to get that out this weekend. I think I'll keep the YouTube up, provided I don't do anything naughty on the YouTube, and we can keep that going. But we're not going to do a full article list, but we do have a couple here. So we have the Coast Guard announces a new safety rule after the deadly California boat fire. Coast Guard announced the new safety rules following the deadly blaze that killed dozens of people on a scuba diving boat in California more than 2 years ago. The Labor Day 2019 fire killed 34 aboard the Conception off Santa Barbara, marked the deadliest marine disaster in modern state history, and led to criminal charges calling for tougher regulations for smaller passenger vessels. Under interim rules that take effect over the next 2 years, boat owners will be required, among other things, to install fire detection and suppression systems, provide better escapes, and use devices aboard that make sure night watchman is alert and making frequent rounds. An investigation.
Now, is this for commercial people?
Yes.
Or everybody?
Well, it said who was not included, which was like car ferries didn't have to do the regulation. Does not apply to car ferries or fishing boats, but charter vessels have to.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, the one thing they said is that you have to have 2 ways out. So they're looking at, any of the below deck areas. It can't just be one area out of it. There has to be 2. They also talked about requirements for batteries or they made a recommendation that there should be limited number of unsupervised lithium acid batteries. They also recommended limits on extension cords and outlet strips. They said, well, investigators couldn't determine the cause of the fire because the boat burned and sank. They say the blaze started toward the back of the main deck salon where divers had plugged in phones, flashlights, and other items with combustible lithium-ion batteries. After the fire, Coast Guard issued a bulletin recommending a limit on unsupervised onboard use of lithium batteries, extensive use of power strips, and extension cords. So what the one thing that I saw in there was they're trying to make it to where they can verify somebody's awake. So I'm picturing this is like what security guards do in the night shifts, where they have to, take a puck and put it on different sensors as they move around. It buzzes after so much inactivity. But
my father-in-law used to do that during the summer vacation. He was a teacher. And they had the punch clocks. You got to go around, and they had it far enough around, and you had to do it in a sequence that ensured you're not going to fall asleep on the way around there.
Yeah. Well, even like when I was in the sheriff's department, we'd occasionally help out in the jail, primarily during for the Christmas holiday party. We would go work that so they could go party. And that's what you had to do. You had to hit certain sensors at certain times in a certain order. That way there was no doubt that somebody was wherever at certain times. So.
Out and about.
Yep. So probably a good idea. Probably, nowadays not that expensive to implement.
Well, always take solar cells, put them on the deck, recharge your gear.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't need those regular battery chargers.
Yeah. Well, lithium ions, they're not inherently dangerous, but if you overload them, then you do have some sort of problem. So here's one. Let me see if I can get that title to show up in the feed. A treasure hunter sets sail to find General Grant gold. Treasure hunter Bill Day sets sail on the bluff on Tuesday afternoon, his 5th expedition to find a General Grant shipwreck and its cargo of gold. This website is stuff.co.nz. The General Grant struck the cliffs of Auckland Islands in 1866 and sank with at least 73 kilograms of gold. Only 10 of the 83 crew and crew and passengers survived the disaster. Life as castaways before they were rescued 18 months later. Since then, there's been at least 30 attempts made to try and locate the wreck and salvage its gold, but no trace has been found despite detailed survivor accounts. Since then, at least...
If you found it, would you tell anybody?
No, definitely not. And I'm sure in 1866, even more so. 73 kilograms. That's quite a quite a haul. But I think I could, ditch my clothes in my rucksack and load it up and drag it around for a little bit. Since then, at least 30 attempts have been made to try and locate the wreck and salvage its gold, but no traces have been found despite detailed survivor accounts.
Why do you suppose that is?
It's not there anymore. that would
Yeah.
It's not there. Here they're showing a handful of coins that were found on other wrecks. There's also one thing in the article. He says, after years of studying historical accounts of disaster, nautical charts and records of other searchers, Day said he had new ideas about where the wreck may be, though he accepted it could have been buried by a collapsed cliff. So, I mean, that's very well possible.
Yeah.
As some of this deep sensing technology starts advancing, you kind of wonder if, it won't be too long, you'll be able to put a couple probes in the ground and it will go, it's right there.
Well, sub-bottom profilers, you can buy them.
Yep.
But again, you're always talking a little more money.
Yeah. Well, for 72 kilograms of gold, I think you might get a return. If that's where it's at.
If
it's there.
Yeah.
You gotta put it up before you find it. And he said, weather permitting, he could be diving Saturday. But Auckland Islands weather is notoriously bad.
I had never heard of that one before, had you?
I hadn't. Well, when they said General Grant, I was thinking it's more of a U.S., but it's probably was it a U.S. flagged vessel? Did they say?
And what year did it sink?
1866. So about the right time.
18.
But yeah, that's still in the Civil War, though.
1866. No, Civil War was over.
Was it over by then?
65.
65. Okay.
65.
So that's why it's a General Grant. Somebody wanted to ride the wave of his popularity at that point. That would be before he was president, isn't it?
Before he made president.
Yeah. So there's an article. I can't promise I'm going to have show notes on this one since I didn't put them in. Maybe I will. We'll see. I've got to really cut down on the editing effort. So if somebody wants to make the show notes and send them to me, I'll put them up there. That's going to be, I've got so many episodes edited. People are going to hear this one because we're going to get it up this weekend. But I've got a dozen done. So just need slicing and dicing to get them up. You would think after 500 and some, I'd actually get good at this. I think I'm getting worse. Click off of this.
Yeah, too many irons in the fire there, buddy.
I do, and I keep eliminating some. Plus, I think I'm getting slower or something. I don't know.
Well, you get rid of the horses, then you don't need the barn.
Gosh.
Then you got plenty of time for diving.
See, what I got to do is I got to get the roof on the barn because my wife will support it because her horse is in. But then I get rid of the horses and it becomes a big dive gear locker. I could fit 2 or 3 boats in there. I got all sorts of stuff. And that
I see Jim has this for sale to get wet.
Oh gosh, Did
you see it?
I've been on it, but I didn't. I heard that he was selling. Well, the I have the same problem he does. It's just it's heavy to haul. If you're going to be trailering that home and then out to the water, that's a large vessel, and you can do it. But you know, your lighter full size trucks, you really need something a little bit heavier. And I understand that he has got a new vehicle coming if he hasn't already gotten it. But his boat's probably a little bit big. I mean, plus the bigger the boat, the bigger the gas bill. Both towing it and putting it in the water.
The more buddies you have with you to help share the cost. Many divers lighten the load.
Yeah.
Or they can anyway.
Yeah, I do not need a boat. I want a boat. I'd love to have a boat, but I do not need a boat, and I definitely can't afford a boat. So,
speaking from somebody who owns a boat, the best thing to do is have friends with a boat.
I agree. I absolutely. Yeah, my grandfather owned and managed marinas, and yeah, it is just it's a big hole of money, that big hole in the water you pour money into.
It's a horrible financial decision.
Yeah. There's no ROI. I've looked a dozen different ways. In fact, on Facebook, one of the few times I get on there's that. Anybody follow that the SV Seeker, where he's building that boat? Let me see if I can find.
I haven't. I've heard of it.
Yeah, let me see if I can find that.
It's not, if you're going to use the boat all the time. I've got a cousin who fishes like crazy. He basically lives on it, but he doesn't trailer it.
Yeah.
And a couple of guys I know in Florida the same way.
Yeah,
they have access and they use theirs.
I got an uncle who has a couple of fishing boats in Sitka, Alaska.
Yeah, cold water.
It's Sitka, Alaska. He's always bragging how it's warmer there than it is here half the time.
Sometimes that's true.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find that SV Seeker here. I'll get this pulled up. Sharing Facebook online is like one of the most dangerous things you can do.
Well, like to say, the greatest days you have with your boat is the first day you buy it and the first day you start.
Yeah, SV Seeker, this page, he made a submarine, a wooden submarine. And then he completed that, and then he started making this boat. Let me see if I can find a picture of the boat. He's kind of getting to the end of the construction project. So he's kind of morphing the channel into like a welding channel. Oh, okay, here's the boat he made. So a little one, made that from scratch.
I saw an article the other day on the first submarine built out of wood, powered by oars, and you're talking over 1,000 years ago.
Wow. This is why I don't get on Facebook much. You can get sucked into all these different threads. I'm going to see if I can find a photo. It's a little bit more interesting. It's like I haven't been on here in a while. But I have to give the guy credit for that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Yeah, but I'll come back to it. I'll if I can find it, we'll do something. Well, Mac, did you have anything you want to plug? Did you want to do your safety story or?
We'll say that for another one. We'll get it so you can edit this and get it out.
Yeah. We'll try and do that. Let me see. Let's check in the chat room who I've been kind of ignoring. Karen was in there. Talking talking about the Ford Seahorses show. She says, I love the show. It's one of the first show I went to and haven't missed it since. The Ohio show was also nice. Thank you. Let me see. Do we have anything in Discord before we get out of here? Yes, good conversations going on in there. So I think that's it. I mean, we'll do the normal plug. If you're enjoying the show, drop on over to our website, which I haven't updated in a long time. I'll have to get some new content up there. We have patreon.com/Scuba Obsessed. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/Scuba Obsessed. On Twitter at Scuba Obsessed. YouTube. Just search for Scuba Obsessed. You'll find us. Trying to get the numbers up on that as we've been playing around, but we give, if you're a Patreon supporter, we send you the show notes in advance and then notify you when we got something coming up. Mac, you have anything you want to plug?
Not at this point. We're looking for, I got the word out to some fishermen, ice fishermen.
Mm-hmm.
When they can find anybody that's got 6 inches of ice, give me a call. We'll get an ice dive in.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because I don't think the last couple days have been conductive to ice building.
No.
So, if you're ready.
I'm ready.
Yeah, so here we go. People are often shocked when they find out I'm a terrible electrician. Yesterday, I heard a woodpecker.
I'm more worried about me being shocked.
Yesterday, I heard a woodpecker call me paranoid weirdo in Morse code. A tub of margarine fell on my foot 3 weeks ago, and it still hurts. I can't believe it's not better. No. I've got one more, but this one's probably going to get us on the naughty list.
Go for it.
Okay. 6th grade science teacher Mrs. Parks asked her class, what human body part increases 10 times its size when stimulated? No one answered until Mary stood up and said, you shouldn't be asking 6th graders a question like that. I'm going to tell my parents, and they will go and tell the principal, and they will fire you. Mrs. Parks ignored her and asked the question again, which body part increases 10 times its size when stimulated? Little Mary's mouth fell open, and then she went around to theirs. Boy, this is going to get her in big trouble. The teacher continued to ignore her and said to class, anybody? Finally, Bill stood up, looked around nervously, and said, the body part that increases 10 times in size when stimulated is the pupil of the eye. Mrs. Parks said, very good, Bill. He then turned to Mary and concluded, as for you, young lady, I have 3 things to say. 1, you have a dirty mind. 2, you didn't read your homework. And 3, one day you're going to be very, very disappointed.
Okay, that was good.
that was Karen who gave us that one. So thank you, Karen.
Yep.
10 times. Wow. Who knew?
Well, everybody did, didn't they?
Yeah. So on that note, go out there and get wet.
And stay safe.
Stop recording. Stop the stream.
Thank you guys for having me on.
Oh, I'm glad you were there. Good to hear about that. And I understand how much trouble it is to get people together to do something, and something as big as the showcase like that.